After a long, hard day's work, you come home to push the misery that is inflation and politics out the window with your trusty Genesis. Below, this sound. Never you fear, though. Today is the day we peel back the layers and pull out the rot, giving new life to this brave console of old. Today is Triple Bypass Day. Cue the intro. Welcome, part-time wanderers of the interweb. Today, I feel like I've finally leveled up enough to attempt the triple bypass. This will include removing resistors, capacitors, and lots of soldering. May whatever you pray to have mercy on your soul. Let's go. This mod requires decent soldering knowledge and experience, and things you will need before you start are solder iron, with solder and all the other stuff, tin snips, wire, and something small for leverage. I use a dental pick. To begin, we will prep the board by removing these 8 capacitors, these 5 resistors, and 2 of these resistors we're going to bridge the connections. After that, we will flip the board over, head on over to where the video and power connections are to prep for the triple bypass board. So before we can solder the triple bypass board to the Genesis main board, we do need to do a little surgery. These 3 points here, here, and here will need to be trimmed down so that the triple bypass board can go as flush as possible to the Genesis main board. So after reviewing the footage, I noticed that I mostly had that off camera. I apologize. Here's a still of what it looked like when I was done removing the capacitors. Now with all 5 capacitors removed, it's now time to build some loving bridges. Solder bridges, that is, with solder. Lots and lots of solder. On the back of the triple bypass version 2 board, there will be specific instructions on where to solder and bridge on the front, corresponding to your model of Genesis and your board version. For us, it's going to be the Model 2 Genesis, and the board variation is number 1. So I will take the M2VA0 to 1.2, which means I'm going to be bridging both two slots, the C slot, the D slot I'm going to bridge to the right, and the E slot. After that, move on to the next part. So it is about this moment I realized I am not using a good enough solder tip for this portion of the job. I struggled here for a long time. There's a lot of edits. And let's just say I switched tips and everything was so much more smooth. Now this next portion is not for the faint of heart, mainly me, but I have to remove the solder masking from 2-point vias here, this one and one just a little below it. And it always makes me feel nervous using a cutting tool on a motherboard. So this one right here is part of the RGB. Typically you'd have to do all three of these, but this board already had 2 of them done. The one I did previous is for the sink. From here I will set the sink, the R, the G, and the B. Let's watch. Okay, so the video died last night when my phone did. So I'm just going to touch some stuff really quick. We'll zoom in just a little bit here. All right, so let's see what we're doing. So for the RGB, we got sync, which goes to here. We got RG and B, which goes to the corresponding. So that's blue, that's green, and that's red. So that's our RGB. On this side, we have left and right audio, and say YR, YL, and these two I had to solder. Left and right audio gets soldered there. And for the rest of it, so CL is the purple and it goes to here. XL is the blue and it goes to here. PSG is the green one I got and it goes here. XR is the first brown wire and it goes here. And then CR goes over here. So you have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points here. And then the 2 points on the other side that I showed you, the 22 and the 24. And finally, we need to remove the RGB from the chip. Those are pins 21, 22, and 23. You just heat up the pad, pull up the pin with a pick type tool, and you're good. I had to cut off this little piece of metal here, and I had to remove this here. Once I did that, I was able to slide this all back in. And have this fit in perfectly.